Hi everyone! If you're a subscriber to my channel, and why wouldn't you be, you may have seen this video where I debunked Buzzfeed's "People Try to Live Without Black Inventions." It's currently the 4th most popular video on my channel, so I thought it would be fun to do a companion piece of sorts. So let's take a look at another video called 15 Inventions Created by Black Americans.
Before Black History Month is over, I wanted to take a moment to give thanks to the POC, pioneers of color, that came before us.
Oh, good grief.
During my research, I was blown away by just how many African American inventions we use on the day-to-day. And it got me thinking just how different life might be if it weren't for Black ingenuity. And though this video could literally be hours long, I narrowed it down to some of my favorites.
So there's your setup. This video is purportedly going to show us 15 inventions created by Black Americans. So let's see if this guy did the proper research. Spoiler alert, he didn't.
The automatic gear shift, Richard Spikes. For those of us who hate driving clutch, we have this guy to thank.
Okay, first of all, Richard Spike's name is spelled wrong, so we're off to a great start. But more importantly, Richard Spikes didn't invent the automatic gear shift. Because if you read the actual patent, Richard Spikes writes, "My invention relates to improvements in automatic gear shifts." In other words, he made mechanical improvements on something that already existed. In fact, he wasn't even the first to improve on it. That would be Henry R. Hoffman, who applied for a patent for automatic gear shift and speed control 8 years earlier and wrote, "My invention relates to improvements in automatic gear shifts, and more particularly, to the gear shift mechanism of a motor vehicle." So while he may have improved on it in some way, Richard Spikes did not invent the automatic gear shift, which means we're 0 for 1.
America's first clock, Benjamin Banneker. Rumor has it that Ben built his clock after studying a friend's pocket watch.
So reportedly at age 21 or 22, Banneker, after studying a pocket watch, constructed a striking clock made almost entirely out of wood. And on the day of his funeral, his cabin caught on fire, which destroyed the clock.
His family even reported that it ticked until the day he died. Ooh.
The clock was destroyed in a fire. It's not like the clock died of a broken heart or something. Now the claim is that Banneker built a clock almost entirely out of wood or something, and to me, that sounds a little like folklore. But for the sake of argument, let's say that he did. Regardless, there is no proof or documentation that he built America's first clock. Okay, next clip.
Automatic elevator doors, Alexander Miles. Without this, we'd have a lot more awkward encounters at work. You know what I'm talking about.
And I'm sure you're not the source of that awkwardness in any way. And speaking of awkward, Alexander Miles didn't invent the automatic elevator doors. That would be J.W. Meeker, who filed this patent in 1874, while Alexander Miles' patent was filed in 1887. So while Alexander Miles may have improved how elevator doors work, he didn't invent them.
The carbon filament and the electric lamp, Lewis Latimer. Do you know how many times I heard about Edison as a kid?
Yeah, because Thomas Edison was responsible for the first commercial successful light bulbs, you genius. And as I have previously pointed out, Lewis Latimer didn't invent the carbon filament, let alone the electric lamp. What Lewis Latimer and his partner Joseph V. Nichols did do was patent new and useful improvements in incandescent electric lamps. And while Latimer didn't invent the carbon filament, he did file a patent pertaining to improvements in the manufacture of those filaments. And unfortunately, when people overstate Lewis Latimer's role in the evolution of the light bulb, it leads to falsities like the following.
A black man invented the light bulb, not a white guy named Edison, okay?
81 million votes, guys.
Folding chair, John Purdy. Without this, professional wrestling would be an entirely different sport.
First of all, this is the folding chair that John Purdy patented in 1889. But he didn't invent the folding chair, as this design goes as far back as the Nordic Bronze Age. Now, you might be thinking that this looks nothing like this, and you'd be right. But what I did find was the patent for this folding chair filed by John Cram 34 years earlier. Not sure what the color of John Cram's skin was though. Sorry.
The ice cream scooper, Alfred L. Crowell.
Yuck.
Need I say more?
I mean, it would be nice if you did, but you won't, so it's up to me. This is Alfred L. Crowley, who invented this ice cream scoop and disher that allowed the user to scoop ice cream and squeeze the handle that would separate the ice cream from the scoop. And you know what that means? We finally have an invention created by a Black American inventor. Took long enough.
The modern lock, Washington Martin. Locks. Locks, dude. For 4,000 years, locks hadn't changed. This dude rolls along, makes some changes, then we're locking everything up.
No! In 1861, Louis Yale Jr. invented a pin tumbler lock that used a small flat key with serrated edges. Look familiar? Well, it should, because this is what's considered to be the modern lock. But where does Washington Martin figure into all this? Well, he doesn't. In the 1889 patent that Washington Martin filed, his lock featured a mechanism that, when tripped, would force a deadbolt out of the lock. This was Washington Martin's improvement over beveled latches that work like this. Washington Martin's design was to prevent people from being able to use something thin like a knife to jam open a beveled latch. However, this design is not in use today, so while Washington Martin invented a lock, he didn't invent the modern lock.
The refrigerator, Thomas Elkins. Who else had leftovers for dinner last night? Well, don't forget to thank your boy Thomas, because without his improvement to the refrigerator, that meal wouldn't have been possible.
Long story short, Thomas Elkins improved the refrigerator. He didn't invent it.
The modern toilet, also Thomas Elkins. Ooh, baby, a double.
Let's look at this modern toilet. It's a commode that adds amenities like a bureau, mirror, and a book rack. You know, like the modern toilet. All this is just a big piece of furniture surrounding a toilet. It's like when Homer Simpson was asked to design a car.
The mop, Thomas W. Stewart. What? Were you gonna keep using your good towels to clean up spills?
Okay, I think you can guess that Thomas Stewart didn't invent the mop. And he certainly didn't invent the Swiffer wet jet. Nice prop there, genius. Anyway, what Thomas Stewart did accomplish was receiving a patent on a metal holder that would secure the mop itself to a mop handle, which means that you could remove the string mop and replace it. However, this wasn't an original invention. That honor goes to inventor Jacob Howell's mop holder that was introduced 56 years prior. So while Thomas Stewart didn't invent the mop holder, let alone the mop, he greatly improved on Jacob Howell's design. And Stewart's design hasn't changed all that much in almost 130 years, and that's some legacy.
Portable pencil sharpener, John Lee Love.
So spoiler alert, John Lee Love didn't invent the portable pencil sharpener, as sharpeners like these had already existed decades prior. For example, this is a Marion pencil sharpener, which, as you can see, is pretty damn portable. But let's take a look at the sharpener that John Lee Love invented. Here is the sharpener from the side, and the pencil goes in here where the blade is located. And here's the view from the top. Again, you insert the pencil here. Then, while holding the pencil, you turn it like a crank. The small gear rotates the blade mechanism, which in turn sharpens the pencil. And no, John Lee Love didn't invent the first hand-cranked pencil sharpener, as products like this one from the A.B. Dick Company were patented at least a year before. But the Love sharpener is novel, because according to John Lee Love's patent, this is supposed to go on top of a desk and serve as a paperweight or a desk ornament. With that said, I have no clue where anyone gets the idea that it's supposed to be portable. Anyway, I thought it was interesting and thought I would share.
Potato chips, George Crumb. My favorite carb delivery system.
Okay, first of all, these aren't even potato chips. These are sun chips that are made from corn. Not only is this video lazy in its research, but they're too lazy to go to the store and buy a 50-cent bag of potato chips. Regardless, George Crumb reportedly invented the potato chip in the 1850s, but the recipe for potatoes fried in slices or shavings is attributed to William Kitchener. The recipe was included in his 1822 cookbook, The Cook's Oracle. And here's a fun fact, William Kitchener also invented the kitchen. The recipe was included in other publications, including the cook's own book, published out of Boston in 1833. In other words, George Crumb didn't invent potato chips in the 1850s because they were invented in the 1820s. And that means we're 1 for 12.
Thermostat and temperature control. Frederick Jones.
Oh my God! So this is Frederick McKinley Jones, who did not invent the thermostat and or temperature control. Although he did receive a patent relating to improvements in a temperature control system. But what this genius doesn't realize is that Frederick McKinley Jones was the inventor / creator of the portable air cooling unit and co-founder of Thermo King. Before FMJ, refrigerated trucks and boxcars didn't exist, so perishable goods like vegetables needed to be packed in chipped ice to keep them fresh.
A stream of chipped ice is forced over the boxes stacked in the cars to ensure their arrival in northern cities as fresh as if just taken out of the soil.
Frederick McKinley Jones changed the world, yet just like the Buzzfeed video, they missed the prime opportunity to honor one of the greatest inventors of all time. And he blew it because he wanted to make a joke about Arizona weather or something.
Freddie, my guy, my dude, Arizona salutes you.
And you thought the Buzzfeed video was bad.
Modern traffic light, Garrett Morgan. Thanks to Garrett, we don't have to play a game of Frogger every time we want to cross the street.
Garrett Morgan invented this traffic signal, which looks nothing like nor operates anything like the modern traffic light. For clarity, Morgan invented this, he didn't invent this. So, wrong again.
Touchtone telephone, portable fax, caller ID, fiber optic cables, etc. Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson.
Nope.
Dr. Jackson deserves her own video.
Well, not only does she deserve her own video, which this guy is obviously not capable of making, but there happen to be tons of great videos about Shirley Ann Jackson right here on YouTube.
You're looking at the mother of modern telecommunications right here. Put some respect on her name.
If you want to put respect on her name, then you would have done your due diligence. Because all of the things that you attributed to Dr. Jackson were telecommunications advancements that occurred before she even left college.
Like I said before, this is all just the tip of the iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg. This video is called 15 Inventions Created by Black Americans, and the only invention you got right was the mechanical ice cream scoop. And then you credited Frederick Jones with the wrong invention, which is particularly egregious.
And though it's always good to stop and acknowledge those who came before us, Black history could never be condensed into a single month. Though,
thanks for trying, white people.
I hate me too.
Anyway, thanks for watching, sharing, and slamming that like button. Be sure that you're still subscribed to the channel, and as always, I hope to see you next time. If there is a next time.